Have you ever encountered someone who seemed molded from the essence of your being, only to realize that a relationship with them remained forever out of reach? Picture meeting an individual who stirs every fiber of your existence, who communicates in the dialect of your most cherished aspirations, who appears to comprehend aspects of yourself you've never revealed to another soul, and then being forced to turn away. It's an anguish so refined, so masterfully orchestrated that it feels almost deliberate, as though the cosmos conspired to position this individual in your journey, not to grant your desires, but to illuminate something far more significant about your destined transformation. Carl Jung, the revolutionary psychologist who charted the unexplored realms of human consciousness, maintained that nothing in our emotional existence occurs by chance. According to Jung, when we cross paths with someone we cannot possess, someone who kindles our spirit yet remains perpetually beyond our grasp, we are not witnessing universal mockery or merciless destiny. We are receiving an invitation to one of existence's most revolutionary experiences. This transcends conventional romance. This concerns the universe, employing another being as an instrument to access the most profound chambers of your personal evolution. Consider that individual who occupies your consciousness, the one who emerged in your reality like a thunderbolt piercing darkness, revealing internal territories you never suspected existed. Perhaps they belong to another. Perhaps circumstances aligned impossibly wrong. Perhaps you inhabited separate realms, divided by seemingly impossible barriers. Perhaps their purpose was educational rather than romantic. The logical mind attempts comprehension, seeking rational justifications for why something that resonated so deeply could prove so unattainable. Yet Jung would inform you that logic fails to translate the psyche's communication. The subconscious operates through symbolism, through significant synchronicities, through meetings that demolish our carefully assembled identity. When you encounter someone beyond your reach, you're not simply meeting another person, you're confronting a reflection that reveals dormant aspects of yourself. This individual represents qualities, aspirations, and possibilities existing within you but lying inactive. They don't highlight your deficiencies, they illuminate your potential for becoming. The magnetic attraction you experience toward them is actually your unrealized self summoning you toward expansion, toward integration, toward complete fulfillment of your authentic nature. Jung termed this phenomenon projection, the unconscious mechanism through which we perceive in others what remains invisible within ourselves. However, this specific projection differs fundamentally. Rather than reflecting our shadows or anxieties, it mirrors our supreme potential, our unlived existence, our soul's most profound longings manifested in human form. The person you cannot claim carries fragments of your own completeness, and your mission involves reclaiming those pieces rather than possessing them. The overwhelming intensity of your emotions for this individual, how they seem to circumvent rational barriers and communicate directly with something primal within you, signals that profound emergence seeks expression from your psyche's depths. Your soul utilizes this connection to awaken you from mundane existence, reminding you of your capacity for deeper feeling, more authentic loving than previously imagined possible. This person isn't destined to complete you. They're meant to reveal your existing wholeness, perhaps not yet fully manifested. The inquiry isn't why the universe delivered someone unattainable. The question becomes, what does this person's presence attempt to teach about yourself? Which aspects of your nature do they reflect? What elements of your potential do they summon forth? These answers unlock understanding not merely of this relationship, but your entire becoming journey. The love that fractures you open doesn't destroy you, it demolishes illusions about yourself. When you encounter someone touching your deepest essence yet remaining unreachable, you're experiencing sacred heartbreak. This isn't trivial disappointment from unfulfilled desires. This is profound shattering occurring when your soul recognizes itself in another, only to discover that recognition itself was the blessing, not the relationship. Jung comprehended that life's most powerful experiences often masquerade as losses. The person you cannot claim has unlocked something within you that remains sealed, perhaps for years, perhaps lifetimes. They've awakened feeling capacities you may have forgotten possessing. They've reminded you of your ability to love beyond ordinary boundaries of possession and dominance. This awakening isn't intended as torture, but as liberation from the limited, secure version of yourself you had previously accepted. You may have existed on your experience's surface, mechanically going through love and connection without fully grasping your emotional capabilities. You may have accepted comfortable but non-transformative relationships, pleasant but shallow connections. Then this person materialized, and suddenly you understood the distinction between loving someone and being enamored with existence's mystery itself. They demonstrated that love transcends mere emotion. It's a state of being, not just feeling but a reality-perceiving method. The fracturing proves necessary because your previous self couldn't contain the love you're capable of experiencing. Your heart required opening to accommodate a more expansive worldly existence. This process inherently brings pain because growth demands destroying what preceded it. The caterpillar must completely dissolve before butterfly transformation. Your former methods of loving, being, and self-understanding required shattering to create space for something more genuine and vibrant. Jung believed our greatest wounds often become our most significant wisdom and strength sources. The person who breaks you open isn't inflicting wounds. They're revealing existing wounds requiring acknowledgement and healing. Perhaps you had closed your heart following previous disappointments. Perhaps you had convinced yourself that profound love was impossible or unworthy of risk. Perhaps you had settled for quiet desperation, believing passion and meaningful connection were unaffordable luxuries. This person's presence forces confrontation with these old wounds, these limiting beliefs about your worthiness and possibilities. They're not creating your pain, they're surfacing it for final healing. Your feeling intensity toward them corresponds to the healing depth attempting to occur. You're not receiving universal punishment but an opportunity to return to wholeness. The love that fractures you also transforms your love comprehension. You begin understanding that love isn't about possession or dominance, not about meeting needs or fulfilling desires. Love concerns recognition, seeing and being seen, touching, and being touched by another human being's mystery. The person you cannot claim has shown you what it means to love without agenda, to connect without conditions, to be present to another's essence without needing ownership or change. This realization proves both liberating and terrifying. It frees you from small, transactional love understanding that traps most people in security-focused, rather than growth-oriented relationships. Yet it also frightens because it demands loving without guarantees, safety nets, or permanence promises. You're being called to love like mystics, with complete present moment surrender, total acceptance of what exists, no outcome attachment. The person who breaks you open teaches that deepest love isn't about having someone but being transformed through encountering them. They demonstrate that you can love someone completely while releasing them, can appreciate connection, even when it cannot continue, can be broken open by love and emerge more complete than before. They were never meant as your forever. They were meant as your mirror, reflecting forgotten or underdeveloped self-aspects. Jung's concept of anima and animus, the feminine aspect within men and masculine aspect within women, helps explain why certain people trigger such intense recognition. When you meet someone you cannot claim, you often encounter external representation of your inner wholeness, underdeveloped or suppressed self-parts. This person embodies qualities you admire not because they're foreign to you, but because they resonate with your soul. They represent dormant potentials within yourself seeking conscious emergence. The creative fervor they express so naturally mirrors your own suppressed artistry. The assurance they emanate reflects your inner fortitude that you've hesitated to embrace. Their authentic, purposeful navigation through existence demonstrates what inhabiting one's life completely looks like. Most people erroneously believe they require this individual to access these internal qualities. They assume being with this person will somehow fulfill them, granting access to self-aspects they perceive reflected in the other. Jung would argue this perspective is inverted. You recognize these traits in them because they already reside within you. Your assignment isn't possessing this person, but cultivating these characteristics within yourself. Your intense attraction to this individual represents your soul's method of revealing your potential. They're not your missing component. They're a reflection showing unclaimed pieces of yourself. The reason you cannot unite with them often stems from your unreadiness to embrace yourself in this fuller, more integrated manner. The universe isn't separating you for torture. It's providing time and space to become someone capable of the love you glimpsed in their presence. Contemplate the qualities that magnetized you to this person. List what you found most captivating about them. Now consider how each trait might develop within yourself. The passion you witnessed in them. Where in your existence are you summoned to greater intensity? The courage they demonstrated. What in your life demands increased bravery? Their apparent comfort within their own skin. What would it require for you to inhabit your existence more completely? This person materialized as an educator, not a romantic partner. They arrived to demonstrate your capabilities, not provide what you believe you need. The yearning you experience for them actually represents longing for fuller self-expression. The love you feel toward them is actually affection for your own potential, your becoming, your wholeness journey. Jung believed individuation, the process of becoming your authentic self, often requires encounters with people who activate dormant personality aspects. These meetings aren't coincidental. They're precisely orchestrated by the unconscious mind to catalyze growth and integration. The person you cannot possess plays a vital role in your individualization process. They're helping you perceive and reclaim lost, forgotten, or never fully developed self-parts. The anguish of being unable to unite with them represents the pain of recognizing how much of yourself you've withheld, how much potential you've feared claiming. It's the agony of awakening to the reality that you've lived a smaller existence than your capabilities allow. This pain proves sacred because it's birth pain, the emergence of a more authentic, integrated version of yourself. Rather than fixating on what you cannot possess with this person, focus on what you can become through having known them. Instead of mourning the impossible relationship, celebrate the awakening that occurred. They bestowed a gift more precious than any partnership could provide. They've revealed who you're capable of becoming. Now your responsibility involves honoring that gift by undertaking the work of transformation. The relationship you imagined wanting with them was actually a relationship you need with yourself. The love you felt for them was actually affection for your unrealized potential. The connection you experienced with them was actually unity with self-parts awaiting recognition and integration. They were never meant as your destination. They were meant as your guide, directing you toward your destined self. They came to rouse you from ordinary living slumber, to shake you from comfortable numbness that imprisons most people in lives too small for their souls. Jung understood that the psyche possesses its own intelligence, its own growth and healing agenda. Sometimes it sends us people who cannot remain, not for punishment but to catalyze transformations impossible any other way. The person you cannot possess serves as your awakening agent, a catalyst dispatched by your unconscious mind to activate dormant potentials. Before their appearance, you may have sleepwalked through existence, accepting false limitations, believing untrue stories about yourself. You may have convinced yourself you weren't someone who experiences great love, profound connection, or transformative passion. You may have settled for a safe but lifeless version of yourself, acceptable but inauthentic, functional but unexpressed. Then this person entered your life and everything shifted. Suddenly you remembered what feeling fully alive meant, fully present, fully engaged with existence's mystery. You recalled your capacity for feelings transcending the ordinary, connections defying explanation, love transforming everything it touches. They reminded you that you're not merely a collection of roles and responsibilities, fears and limitations. You're a soul experiencing humanity, and that soul surpasses your previous self-beliefs. The awakening they triggered transcends love or relationships. It concerns remembering your authentic identity beneath accumulated conditioning, expectations, and self-doubt layers. They've demonstrated your capacity for passion, creativity, courage, authenticity, and aliveness in ways you'd forgotten or never fully known. This awakening isn't meant to depend on their presence. It's meant for integration into your being, carried forward into everything you do. Jung believes certain encounters are destined, not through fate or predetermined outcomes, but because they're necessary for consciousness evolution. Your soul summoned this person because it was prepared for your development's next stage. You'd reached the limits of who you could become within your old existence's confines. This person appeared to shatter those confines, showing you're capable of far more than imagined. The reason you cannot unite with them often indicates their mission's completion. They've awakened you to your potential, shown you what you're capable of feeling and being. Now it's time to accept responsibility for that awakening, integrate it into daily life, become the person they helped you remember you could be. If you were together now, you might remain dependent on them for this aliveness feeling rather than claiming it as your own. The universe operates through perfect intelligence that rational minds cannot always grasp. Sometimes apparent loss or disappointment is actually graduation, promotion to your spiritual development's next level. The person you cannot possess has completed their task. They've awakened you to your magnificence. Now it's time to honor that awakening by living it, embodying it, expressing it in every life area. This doesn't mean forgetting them or pretending they don't matter. It means understanding they matter beyond the personal. Their impact exceeds any relationship's capacity. They've become part of your inner landscape, a permanent reminder of your capabilities when fully alive and authentic. They've awakened a way of being you can now bring to every encounter, relationship, and life moment. The love you feel for them has taught you self-love, how to recognize and honor your magnificent being. The passion they ignited has shown you what full life engagement means. The connection you experienced has reminded you of your capacity for profound intimacy with existence itself. These gifts remain yours regardless of their presence. They came to awaken you and succeeded. Now the question becomes, what will you do with this awakening? How will you honor the transformation they catalyzed? How will you live reflecting the magnitude of what you've discovered about yourself through knowing them? Your answers will determine whether their presence was merely beautiful memory or genuine transformation changing how you navigate the world. The person you cannot possess offers the greatest possible gift. They've reminded you of your true identity. Now it's time to become that person fully and completely, whether they're present to witness it or not.